because you don't know your next step doesn't mean that God isn't leading you. Many times when God is taking you to somewhere new, when he's bringing you into new territory, a lot of times you won't know where you're going. That can make you feel uncomfortable, unsure, or even scared. But just because it feels unfamiliar doesn't mean that you've done something wrong, nor does it mean that you miss God. I have been there more times than I can count, where I have had peace and I have been uncomfortable at the same time. And those two can coexist, by the way. You can literally have the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, because, you know, it is God that's leading you. But you can also feel uncomfortable at the same time because the place where you're at now is unfamiliar to you. You have never been there before and it feels different. But it's in those moments where the Lord reminded me that they are marked by seasons of transition. So if you find yourself maybe feeling peace, but at the same time feeling a little indifferent, you feel like you have never been here before, you are unsure what it is that the Lord is doing next in your life, you are unsure of what your next step is, you can rest assured that that place that you find yourself in today, that the Lord has led you there. And in my inquiring of the Lord, he led me to Joshua 3. And in Joshua 3, we see the children of Israel crossing the Jordan. This is a big moment for them because the previous generation, they had died in the wilderness. Now it's time for this new generation that God has raised up to get ready to cross the Jordan. And I can only imagine how they must feel. They more than likely had peace because they knew that God was with them, but at the same time, they was looking at the Jordan. And at this time when the Lord was getting ready to deliver them and to, you know, take them to their promised land by crossing the Jordan, the banks was overflowing at this time. So I know a lot of them were scared. I know a lot of them had questions about, is this the route? Is this the way that God is taking us? And you may be there today. You may be looking at something in your life or facing something in your life where it feels impossible. It feels immovable and you might be feeling scared. But rest assured, just like how God was with his original people, his chosen people, God is with you. And the same God that led them and delivered them across the Jordan Sea into their promised land is the same God that's going to deliver you and that's leading you to your next step and to your next journey in this life. Okay, so oftentimes God gives direction even when we can't see the full path. God does not wait till we feel comfortable. He does not wait until we have the clarity that we think we need to tell us to make the next move. No, God doesn't need that. But what he is asking of you in this moment, he's asking for your obedience and he's asking for your trust. See, the children of Israel, they would have never conquered their promised land. They would have never been able to cross that Jordan if they didn't believe it was God that led them there. If they didn't believe that the new path that they was crossing, God did not already establish their steps. So whatever path that you may be facing today, know that God has already established your steps and that he has already went ahead of you. And it's important for you to stay close with God. It's important for you to trust God in leading you in this season, because the path that you are on right now, the Lord is telling you today that you have never been there. You have never passed this way before. This is why you feel uncomfortable. This is why you have peace at the same time, because you have the Holy Spirit that's in you, comforting you and reminding you that it is Jesus that is leading you. It is God that is leading you. But at the same time, the difference that you feeling and the uncomfortability that you feeling comes in because the Lord is also telling you as well that the path that you are walking on, you have never been here before. So Life can also feel uncertain, but God already knows the way. You can very well be in the will of God, and life can feel uncertain day by day. You don't know what to expect of God. You don't know what the next move is, but at the same time, God could be leading the way. And God leads through his presence, not your understanding. So a lot of times we wait to get an understanding. Well, I'm going to wait till God give me this confirmation that I asked him for, or I'm going to wait till he show me a sign to move. God don't move by that. God does not wait for us to get an understanding, but he leads through his presence. So the more we draw in his presence, and the more that we rest at his feet, the more that confirmation will come, the more that peace that surpasses all understanding, that even when things don't seem to change or make sense to our carnal mind, or to make sense, or it makes sense on the things that's happening outside of us, we have the presence of God that's reassuring us that we are still walking the right way. Okay. And a lot of times, listen to me, a lot of times we cannot lean on our own understanding, because our own understanding will tell us that we miss God. Our own understanding will tell us that we done something wrong. But we don't need all the answers. You don't need all the answers to continue to move forward on that new path. But you have to stay close to God. In order for him to reveal what's next for you, in order for him to reveal what it is that he's doing in your life currently, you have to stay close to God. It's impossible. It's impossible to hear from God and to do everything that he's asking for you to do if you don't stay close to him. New seasons always feel uncomfortable. Anytime that there's transition in a Christian's life, it feels uncomfortable. Discomfort often means God is moving you forward. So if you have that feeling today where you feeling uncomfortable, where you feeling unsure, you feeling like you miss God, rest assured that you did not miss God. And that's also a piece of confirmation that God is moving you forward. He's catapulting you to your next step. And a lot of times God will limit clarity and control. You won't always see the next step, and that's okay. You won't always see what it is that God is telling you to do, but in that, you still have to trust that God is leading you. In that, you still got to trust that if God led you to it, he's going to bring you through it. So it does not matter how it look. It does not matter how you may feel. God has you, and that's okay. And this is a big one. Obedience requires action before understanding. Obedience requires action before understanding. I just said this. A lot of times we wait for confirmations, signs, and wonders from God, but God waits on our obedience. It's not until a lot of times that we decide, okay, Lord, even though I don't know what's going on, even though I don't see the full picture, I'm going to still move forward. It's then when God decides to give us clarity. It's then when God reveals to us what it is that he's doing in our life. Okay. And faith is moving even when it doesn't make sense. So faith is moving when it don't make sense. It may not even make sense to you. But if God asks you to do it, and you know that you have the presence of God, and you know that you have the peace of God, a lot of times that's what faith is. It's moving when it does not even make sense yet. And a lot of times it won't make sense until we start putting that faith into action, until we start moving on the things that the Lord has already spoken to us and what we already know what to do. And we can rest assured that even if we don't know the full picture, even if we don't know what it is fully that God is telling us what to do, that eventually he will come along and he will give us direction. He will give us the clarity that we are asking him for. And obedience and trust is what you need in this new path, in this new season, in this season of transition where you find yourself at. And if you need obedience, you have to also know that you cannot retreat back to comfort. You cannot retreat back to comfort just because it feels familiar. You have to stay committed to the new path that God is leading you on. This is where a lot of people give up. This is where a lot of people turn around and they say, this is too hard for me. I know God can't be in this because it's too hard. I didn't know that all this was going to happen. But all because it's uncomfortable, that don't mean to go back to your comfort zone. It does not mean go back to the things that you was once familiar with. You cannot expect God to bring you to a place that you desire to be in and that He desires for you to be in. If you always, when you always get uncomfortable, you retreat back to the familiar. You retreat back to your comfort zone. Okay, so you got to learn that the new path is constantly reassuring yourself in God and allowing God to lead you to where He's going to bring you. Okay, and you also have to follow God, not your feelings. Feelings are fleeting and they can lie to us. They are momentarily. We feel this way 1 second, and then 5 minutes from now we can feel something totally different. So in the moment, we have to remember to not lean on our emotions. We can't lean on our feelings, right? But we have to follow God, and we have to move where He leads us, even if it's unfamiliar or uncomfortable. You can take steps today in faith, even without clarity. Start the action God is showing you. Whatever God has placed in your hand, whatever God has already spoken, you continue to build on that. You continue to do that until He gives you a new assignment, until He tells you something different, until He gives you more clarity about the next thing that He's doing in your life. Okay, so you have to take those steps today in faith. Don't wait until you feel like God has spoken or He gave you something new. You have to take the steps in faith, because faith moves the hands of God. And continue to trust the timing of God. Continue to trust His presence. Continue to stay patient, engaged, and knowing that He is with you in every step. Embrace the unfamiliar as part of God's plan, and lean into the discomfort. It often signals growth, not failure. Lean into the I want to give up. Lean into I don't like this feeling. Lean into I feel like this too hard for me, because that's in those moments that God comes in and He gives you His strength. It's in those moments that God plan is best worked, because it's in those moments that you have reached your capacity and God knows that you need His strength. Okay, so if you find yourself feeling a little easy and feeling a little discomfort, you are in a season of transition, and God is leading you to somewhere new. You don't have to retreat. You don't have to go back to that place of familiarity. You have to continue to trust God. You have to continue to be obedient, and to know if He led you on this path, that He's taking you somewhere new. But He can't get you to that place unless you continue to lean on Him, unless you continue to trust in Him and know that He has you, and the place that He's taking you to is a new level, and it requires a different way of you showing up. It requires a different type of obedience, and it requires a different kind of trust. And you cannot go back to that place where you familiar with. You cannot go back to that place where you comfortable with, because there's no growth there. There's no newness where God is leading that in that place. There's no newness. Okay, I hope this message blesses you. I pray that it keeps you. I am Lachelle Moreau.